Hey, it's Willie and Anna with the Garcia Real Estate team out here in Whittier.
That's right. And if you're not following us, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Willie and Anna.
Also, follow us on our YouTube channel, Living in Whittier, California. Make sure to subscribe and click that little bell so you're notified every single time we upload a new video.
That's right. Today we're gonna walk you through an older home. That's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. The living space is 1,700, and this home was built in the 1960s.
Yeah, so this is an older home. It's a different type of tour. It's not remodeled. It doesn't have the quartz countertops, the nice bathrooms, the nice chandelier. It's totally different.
Dated.
Yes, it's dated. And our purpose for this video is to point out a few things as a buyer, things that you should look out for when looking into buying a home. For example, the plumbing, the air conditioning system, the roof, just little pointers that I think are imperative when you're out there shopping for a house, because you want to make sure that prior to submitting that offer, you feel somewhat comfortable buying that house based on your visual inspection. And also remember that you're going to have an opportunity to conduct a home inspection, but prior to that, you want to have a decent idea of what's going on. So one of the first things you want to look at from the exterior as you drive up to the property or you're on the property is the roof. The roof is always very, very important. This is a composition roof, composition tile. So one of the things you want to look out for, it's the ridges. So at the highest peak of the hip roof, there's the ridge, which are those tiles that are bent or folded. Those things, you're able to know when a roof is a little older because the ridges start bending up, and that's a first sign of a worn out roof. Also, the composition roof there, it'll start crystallizing and bending up because of the heat and the exposure to the sun. So those are really good details of a roof that might be in its last stage of life. And if you look at this particular roof, it looks like it's a 30-year roof, and it's at least, I'm going to say 20, 25 years old. So because it does look worn out, you can see the tiles that are kind of warped. So that's something you want to look at always when driving up to a house or walking around it prior to going inside. Check out the roof. Okay, let's go check out some other stuff. Okay, so here's the kitchen area. As you can see, here to the right, you have a space, an area that's probably 11 by 10, and to the left is the kitchen. And as you can see, the kitchen is dated, but it's very clean. These cabinets look clean. The countertops look very clean. They're all original. These are oak kitchen cabinets, yellow tile countertops. And it's an older home, but it has the structure to basically remodel this whole area. I would put a kitchen island there, obviously, take out these cabinets, maybe even redesign the kitchen. But here are a few things that as a buyer you would want to look at. And number one is, let's check out underneath the sink. We want to look at the plumbing. Let me see if I can do this with this camera. But as you can see, these countertops are the old tile, the old yellow tile, very common in these old homes. But let's take a look underneath the sink. I'm not sure if we'll be able to visually see the plumbing, but what you want to do is come underneath the sink and look at the water valves, which are back there. And I can see it, but I don't think you can see it on the camera. The plumbing is galvanized, and so galvanized is the old type of plumbing. The new plumbing is obviously copper or the new plastics, but that's something you want to look at. You want to look if there's any corrosion back there. You want to look at the drains and so forth. But that's a really good tip. And sometimes what will happen is you'll see that maybe there is updated plumbing, copper at the back, but when you go underneath the house, it's only partial, which means that it's really not all copper plumbing. So you want your inspector to take a look underneath the crawl space, if there is one, to make sure that your house is entirely retrofitted to copper, or maybe it's just partial, and that's important to know. So there you go, that's the kitchen area. Okay, so here's bathroom number one. As you can see, it's dated, has an older sink, older floor tile. But here's something really important you want to check out also in the bathrooms, which is open up, if you can, the vanity and take a look at the plumbing. So like here, right there, you can see that it has the old galvanized plumbing. It's kind of corroded. The drain is an older drain. So this house here definitely does not have the upgraded copper plumbing or the new plastic plumbing. So just so you know, once you're one step ahead before your purchase, you already know that you might have to upgrade this later in the future. Doesn't mean that the plumbing's not working, just means that now you're aware of that and you might want to upgrade. In the shower, so the shower is also dated. A few things you want to look at that I want to point out that's important, because the shower looks clean. It's old, but it's clean, well kept. But here's something that you want to look at. So at the edge, there's grout all to the bottom and throughout the whole shower tile. But sometimes there's gaps, and there's one here. Let me see if I can focus on this. There's, I don't know if the camera, you can see it, but right there's a gap. There's actually a gap throughout the bottom where the tub meets the tile. Now that could be a concern, and I'll tell you why. Because you won't see it from this vantage point, but once your inspector crawls underneath the house into the subspace, many times there's a lot of rotted wood, because in this tub here, it's framed. It's 2x4s and it's framed, and then the tub sits on top of it. And so there's wood all throughout the bottom of this tub, and including the subfloor. So you need to be careful with that, or at least have an idea that there might be some type of water damage at the bottom that you can't see from up above here. So just, I'm pointing that out. That's really important always to take a look at that and have your inspector check it out further. All right, let's go check out the other bathroom. Okay, so here's bathroom number 2. And as you can see, it's also dated. But again, you want to do the same thing. You want to take a look underneath that vanity there. Let's take a look at the shower stall. See what's going on here. So this is an older shower enclosure. Something interesting. So let me see if I can zoom out a bit. So you see the difference? This tile here is purple, and then all of a sudden it turns white, right? Well, this is not something that they planned or was in the design. More than likely what happened here was that shower fixture that was in there prior to this new one probably went bad or it leaked, and the new shower fixtures like this one, they all require copper plumbing. They don't come in with galvanized plumbing or where you can connect it to galvanized. So it requires for all the new fixtures to be connected to copper plumbing. So what happened here is they fixed this and obviously broke out all the tile, and then they just grabbed these common 4x4 tiles and built from there up, and that's why you have that different colored tile. But it was something that had to happen because, again, the galvanized plumbing is obsolete, so this all requires copper. So something to point out. I mean, it's very interesting what you run into when you're looking at homes. Let's take a look at the sink. See what's going on here. So we have galvanized plumbing. Let me get you in there. See if this works. Let me see if I can stick my hand in there. You see this here? This is old rust that's built up from the drain, and eventually that'll corrode. So you need to keep an eye on that. And then here, this is all galvanized. So eventually, again, you know, this is for your own information prior to submitting an offer on a house. I definitely advocate that you come look at these things, do a little further investigating than just superficial. Open up the cabinets, open up the showers, take a look at the roof, take a look at the electrical panels and so forth, because it's important, at least you get a better idea of what's going on with the house. Okay, let's go check out the rest of the house. Okay, so here's bedroom number 3. And this bedroom is, I'd say 11 by 11 feet. And again, has the warm, original 2 1/4 strips of original hardwood floors. And there's a closet. Hey, but take a look at this. This is uncommon to see the electrical panel inside a room. But since we're here, let's take a look at it and figure out what's going on. So it's an older panel, it's a General Electric panel. And unfortunately, you don't have any additional room for breakers, so you're pretty maxed out. If you, let's say, want to install a swimming pool or additional can lights, you probably have to run from here. If this is the original, we're gonna go look right now if there's an original one outside, because this might be a sub panel. We don't know that. But if you want to add more, let's say, like I said, a pool or can lights throughout the house, you might need to add a sub panel somewhere else. But let's go look around, see if we can find the original electrical panel, or let's find out if this is the original electrical panel. But here's the bedroom. So here we have an extra room at the rear of the house. This looks like it was a covered patio at one time, and they enclosed it. They fully enclosed it. Let me show you. That room there is where the panel was at. So this used to be, this wall here used to be the backyard. That was probably stuccoed at one time. So here are a few things you want to ask your realtor to look into when you run into something like this. This is very common here in Whittier and other cities where they'll enclose the patio and make it living space. You want to ask your agent to go up to the building and safety department for that city and to ask for the sleeve at the building and safety department. The sleeve is basically an envelope that carries all the permits to that property, and have them check to see if there's permits for whatever kind of might look funky to you or not normal. There's nothing wrong with it not having permits. I mean, this is very beneficial space for the buyer. I've never seen a buyer say, hey, there's no permits, knock it out, or, let's get rid of it. But it gives you that peace of mind, and at least if it's permitted or not. So that's something you want to do when you find something like this. Ask your realtor to go up to the city, go to the building and safety department, ask for the envelope sleeve, they'll give it to him, and then he can check to see if there's permits or not. So this room here is, I'm gonna say it's a good size. It's at least 22 by about 16. All right, that's that room here. Okay, so here's a look at the backyard. And again, because of that addition over there, which was that step down den and this enclosed patio, you're limited with your backyard space. So you have a planter here and you have just a little side yard, but very limited with the space. So at that point you need to determine, hey, do I want some more yard space, or am I happy with the enclosed patio and the additional family den over there? So those are some of the things to look out for when buying a house. Let me go look at this end. I want to see if there's another electrical panel here, because that was kind of weird to find oh, here we go. All right, so take a look at this. So this is the original panel to the house. And so this is the original panel that has plenty of space, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like this is interesting. I'm a little confused because I don't know if this was the original panel, there wouldn't be that many spaces. So I'm gonna say that the original panel is the one that was inside, and this is where they upgraded it, and they have the drop up there and kind of dropped it. That's my assessment, because if it was original, all those breakers would be, there would be no space, because you need all those to run a whole entire house. I mean, that's my assessment. Who knows? I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. Here is the air conditioning system. Is something very important you also want to keep an eye out on, because this one here, it's an old system. And you definitely need to have your inspector take a really good look at that. Make sure that he'll test it, and make sure that it's working fine. And also he can advise you how much more life it has. But you definitely want to keep an eye on that. Okay, the last thing I want to point out is that the house sits on a raised foundation. So it doesn't sit on a cement slab, which means that you have a space. You see those vents there? Those are vents. That's a crawl space underneath the house. And what's nice about that is that your inspector can crawl underneath the house, check the plumbing. I highly recommend that he checks all the wet spots, toilets, sinks, shower stalls, to see if all the drains are draining correctly, if there's no leaks. He has an opportunity to go underneath the house and check all your water lines. So that's what's really nice. If you need to do any modifications, you can do them underneath the house. And it's not on a cement slab. All right. Okay, folks, that concludes our tour of this older type of home. Hopefully this video is of value to you. We wanted to do a video like this so that if you're a buyer and you're really considering buying a house, at least now you have some good tips on things you should check before buying a house, because it's really important. You want to make sure that you feel comfortable, confident of your purchase if it is that you decide to purchase that home.
That's right. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Willie and Anna.
Also, don't forget to follow us on our YouTube channel, Living in Whittier, California. Don't forget to subscribe and click that little bell so you're notified every single time we upload a new video. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.